This lesson is all about getting your iPad and Apple Pencil ready to work with Procreate. We'll start by making a new canvas, then tweak some settings for the iPad and the Apple Pencil to get them optimized for digital art. Unless you already have a canvas open, when you launch Procreate, you'll be taken to the gallery page. You can open the gallery from the top left of the interface. The Procreate gallery is where you'll manage and organize your artwork. I'll go into detail about the gallery and its features in a later video. For now, I'll just provide you with a brief overview. In the center of the gallery are any canvases you have created. These can be individual canvases or collections of canvases. Tapping on a canvas will open it for you to work on, but we'll start fresh with a blank canvas. To create a blank canvas, tap on the plus button in the top right of the gallery. The new canvas dialog appears, and you can use this to select from a list of preset canvas sizes or create a custom canvas. Understanding canvas dimensions and resolution is critical for creating artwork that looks its best. Rather than give a lengthy explanation of how to choose the correct canvas dimensions, it will be more efficient to direct you to a reference video if this is a subject you aren't already familiar with. As a reminder, you can find the links to the reference videos in the written transcript of this course, which can be found in the resource files. The default presets cover a few common canvases. For example, you can choose an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper. If you'd like full control over your canvas dimensions and resolution, you'll need to tap on the icon in the top right. This opens the Custom Canvas dialog. We'll be exploring all this can do in a later lesson, but for now I just wanted to show you that it's here. I'll cancel to go back, and I will choose the screen size preset, which is optimized to fit the iPad display. These dimensions vary depending on the iPad model you're using. If you want to follow me exactly, then you can tap on the icon in the top right and enter 2360 by 1640 pixels for the dimensions. A new canvas appears, and we can now access the Procreate UI. Before we start painting on this canvas, it would be good to make sure your iPad and Apple Pencil are optimized for working with Procreate. This setup is optional, and you can feel free to choose the settings that best suit you. First, you may want to adjust the brightness of the iPad display if it is too dark or too bright. Since you'll be sitting fairly close to the screen, you'll want to minimize eye strain. Swipe from the top right corner to open the control center, or look in Settings, Display and Brightness to make adjustments. The highest brightness setting will consume the most battery, so only make the display as bright as it needs to be. I'll be setting the background color of my canvas to a very light gray because it's easier on the eyes and easier to record with my camera. You can just leave your background set to white for now. I will be explaining how to work with the background color in a later lesson about canvas management. While we're in the control center, long press on the brightness slider to see more options. The True Tone setting adjusts the way colors are displayed to make them appear consistent in a variety of lighting conditions. This can also help to reduce eye strain, however, it may make it difficult to get an accurate view of what your colors really look like, so you may want to temporarily disable it to check your work. If you are working in the dark or before bed, Night Shift can be useful to reduce the blue light emitted by your display. This also alters the appearance of colors in your artwork, so be sure it is not active when proofing your work. Next, in Settings, Display and Brightness, you may want to adjust the text size. This makes the text in the Procreate UI larger or smaller. Furthermore, under Display Zoom, more space can be enabled if you want to shrink controls, images, and the UI to fit more content on the screen. I prefer to disable auto lock so that the screen doesn't turn off, but there are a couple of reasons why you may want to leave this enabled. First, if the iPad does not lock automatically, someone could access your iPad without permission when it is unattended. And second, if you take a break and forget to turn it off, then the battery will drain until the iPad shuts off. Under Multitasking and Gestures, I prefer to disable the gestures so they don't interfere with Procreate. You can also go to the settings, and under General Background App Refresh, you can disable whether or not your iPad sends updates to apps running in the background. Disabling this can conserve battery, but if it makes any of your apps malfunction, you can enable background refresh for those problematic ones individually. Procreate has some of its own options in the settings under Apps. We'll come back to this, but for now, you might need to grant permissions to Procreate so it can access various functions of your iPad. Now let's configure the Apple Pencil settings. You will of course need to pair and charge your Apple Pencil before you can use it. To charge it, magnetically dock it to the side or plug it in depending on the model you own. If you are not using the Apple Pencil Pro, you may have fewer options than what is shown here. You can squeeze the barrel of the Apple Pencil Pro to invoke a shortcut. I prefer to set this to Show Tool Palette. In Procreate, this will open the Quick menu. We'll come back to that in a later lesson. You can also perform a shortcut by double tapping the barrel of the Apple Pencil Pro. I tend to set this off by accident, so I disable it, but you may want to use it to select the eraser or other commands. Under Effects, hover is quite useful because it shows your cursor before you start painting. Haptics make the stylus vibrate when you use certain tools like selections. Scribble can be useful for inputting text by handwriting it. I'll demonstrate how to use this in the section about layers. And last in this menu are the pencil gestures, which I will disable. This will prevent any unexpected features from being triggered when I draw in the corners of my display. That covers the initial setup to get your hardware working well with Procreate. There is more configuration we'll need to do to the Procreate app, but we'll tackle that in the next section as we work through some of the basics of navigating the Procreate interface.